Last season, guys, whenever Steph Curry went to the bench, it was literally like watching a horror movie because 9 times out of 10, the opponents would go on a 10 to 15-point run. And when Steph was sitting out the game completely, scores like this would even happen.
It's only when the second defender comes do you leave the open three-point shooter, and Damian's a good defender. He knows better than that.
Yeah, I still remember that day. And let me tell you, it wasn't a good day for me at all. I drowned myself in beer that evening. Anyway, moving on. Just to further illustrate how bad the bench was last year, check this out. Out of the 15 Western Conference teams, the Warriors' bench was 12th worst in overall points. Over the course of the year, they were outscored by 197 points. Ouch! Anyway, this up-and-coming 2022 season is going to be different, guys. When Steph goes to rest this year, the offense is still going to be dangerous because we have a nightmare bench. And with that being said, let's get right down to it. Because we're all concerned with winning a championship and not just having the best regular season, I'm going to be talking about what the bench unit's going to look like once Klay Thompson, the Beast of the Bay, is back. So, once the Splash Brothers are reunited after 2 long years, the starting lineup's going to consist of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, and James Wiseman. Klay is going to be at least 80% of his former self, and James Wiseman, in my prediction, is going to make a big leap, especially with a full training camp and a year of experience under his belt. That leaves us with 9 other players, because the 15th spot has yet to be filled. So with that being said, here are the other 9 players. Jordan Poole, Kevon Looney, JTA, and Damian Lee are the 4 returning players from last season. Then, the newly added veterans are Otto Porter Jr., Nemanja Bjelica, and the former Warrior, Andre Iguodala. Then, we have the 2 new rookies in Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody. Let's hear from Coach Steve Kerr on what he recently had to say about the Warriors' depth this season. I'm very excited about the potential. It feels to me that we're going to be back in a situation where we can compete on a nightly basis. Just knowing that is exciting, but we've got a lot of work ahead to prove this. With that being said, here's where things get fun. Let's take a look at these guys individually, then see what kind of death lineups we can make using just the bench players. If we wanted to just purely win as many games as possible, this would be my go-to lineup. Jordan Poole would be at the point guard position, and JTA would take the shooting guard spot. Next, for the small and power forward positions, I'd add in Otto Porter and Nemanja. Then currently, for the last spot, I'd add in Kevon Looney. You'd have 1 elite ball handler.
Gives it up. Poole can't buy one.
3 players who can shoot 40%.
To go home happy.
Westbrook was on the floor. Otto Porter Jr. Is that a second?
Well, that's the challenge right here going into this second half for the Golden State Warriors, and they're going to have to figure it out.
And another player who always crashes the boards and bangs in the post.
Everything but the basket. Looney still fighting. Another rebound, and then denied again. And I guess the 6th.
Every one of these 5 players have years of pro basketball experience, and this unit should be able to get buckets while Steph is resting on the bench. If we wanted a lineup that could run up and down the court and play with energy, we can go with Jordan Poole, Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, JTA, and Damian Lee. This lineup would be a bit more raw, and while the scoring wouldn't be as consistent, it'd be exciting to watch, especially with Steve Kerr's small ball system.
Kuminga's going to get this last look.
Uh-oh.
Top of the arc. Crossover.
Lastly, if you want veteran experience to control the pace of the game more, you could take out whichever player's having an off night and insert Andre Iguodala. Let's take a quick look to see how the Warriors bench can match up with the scoring power of some of the best benches from last season. And for this case, we'll use the lineup I mentioned earlier. We'll also compare it with the Clippers and the Utah Jazz from last season because they were top 5 in the win columns. 39.4 and 38.9 were how many points these clubs averaged respectively, and they both shot from three-point range at 40.9% and 37% respectively. Well, if we take a look at what I call the Warriors' death bench lineup, we have Jordan Poole, who will probably average 17 points per game and shoot 37% from 3. We have JTA, who who will probably increase his scoring production to about 8 points per game and continue shooting about 40% from 3. Next, we have Otto Porter Jr., who can easily average 10 points per game and shoot 40% from 3. Then we have Nemanja Bjelica, who can also average about 8 points per game and also shoot 40% from 3. Lastly, we have Kevon Looney, who we can count on for 5 points per game, plus all the little stuff he does so well that doesn't show up in the stat sheet. He has a really low 3-point shooting percentage, but it's fine because he knows his game and won't shoot any threes. Now, that's 43 points per game from this lineup, and if we exclude Kevon Looney, the other 4 can shoot threes pretty much at 40%. This will easily become a top 5 bench in the league in terms of scoring. And with the starting 5 lineup of Steph, Clay, Draymond, Wiggins, and Wiseman, this is going to be an elite team that is also going to be fun to watch. Now, let's take a look at what Warrior fans online around the world are saying about these bench units and the lineups the Warriors can employ. Number 1, we got a poor man's version of KD and Nemanja on a crazy come-up. I am effing stoked. Number 2, we the deepest team in the Pacific Division. It is going to be bananas this season. Curry going to want that smoke since they got denied last season. Revenge dish is best served with Curry. Number 3, I swear Kerr's going to have lots of fun experimenting with this Warriors rotation. Sheesh. Number 4, love the mixture of youthful athleticism and veteran experience and skill. The talent is tremendous from top to bottom. Kerr has no excuses this year. Number 5, I think from a depth perspective, which is often overlooked when analyzing teams, the Warriors are no doubt the deepest. You get extra value out of contracts because of injuries and rookie contracts. The Warriors have a lot of value for what they're paying in salaries. The key, as it is with every team, is can they stay healthy? This team, more than any other I've seen, would almost be hoping for injuries to allow other players some playing time. As a Warriors fan, I can't wait to see this team work out who's getting minutes. The practices are going to be harder fought than the games. That is a recipe for success. Next off, I want to talk about what y'all are dying to hear. How this bench is going to help the Warriors in their quest for the 2022 championship. When the playoffs roll around, we all know the bench is only going to employ 3 or maybe 4 players at the very most. There's still lots of tinkering to be done, but here's what I got so far. Based on today, if we headed into the playoffs with a fully healthy roster, I'm going to have to go with Jordan Poole, JTA, Otto Porter, and Nemanja as the 4 playoff rotational players. I would love to insert Kuminga, but his outside shooting will definitely have to improve a bit. As far as Moses Moody, we'll have to see how he can perform against NBA-level competition. Anyway, it's going to be a nasty lineup, especially coupled with the starting 5. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, and James Wiseman. Steph can rotate with Jordan Poole. Klay Thompson can rotate with JTA. Then Draymond, Wiggins, and Wiseman can rotate with Otto Porter and Nemanja. If both Draymond and Wiseman can start knocking down their open threes at close to 40%, you'd literally have a whole lineup of 9 players where everybody is dangerous from 3-point range. That'll open up the paint to allow the Warriors to do what they also excel in, setting screens for backdoor plays and finding the open man. Man, oh man, I cannot wait. Oh, and by the way, I saw this on Instagram the other day. Apparently, ESPN does not have the Warriors on their top 10 power rankings list for next season. Oh my lord, whoever made that list must be on some sort of narcotics or something. Anyway guys, the Warriors training camp is about to start, and there are still tons of questions that need to be answered, such as who will take Klay's spot until he returns, who should the Warriors sign to take that 15th roster spot, and a whole lot of other good stuff. I actually answered all these questions right here in this video. It's a big video guys, and I went over some huge stuff. Make sure you don't miss it. Anyways, click the video guys, watch it, and like always, I'll see you on the other side.